vast sky, I stand still. The night is calm, the air heavy with the cool scent of earth and leaves touched by dew. Silence stretches wide, broken only by the steady hum of machinery within me. I am Optimus, Prime leader of the Autobots. Yet tonight I choose not the role of commander, but that of a traveler pausing under the eternal canopy of stars, gazing at their endless shimmer, remembering the home I once knew. Cybertron, a world of brilliance, once alive with harmony and the pure song of energy. Each star above me reminds me of its radiance. In days long past, the skies above our shining cities glowed with the pulse of crystalline energy. Streets of gleaming alloy mirrored the light of towers that rose towards infinity. And night. Yes, even Cybertron's night was never truly dark. It glimmered, alive, resonating with colors that spoke of life. Here on Earth, the night feels different. Darker, deeper, yet strangely more peaceful. These stars, scattered and distant, feel like gentle whispers from the universe itself. They remind me to let my thoughts drift beyond time and space, to travel back to when I was not a leader, but Orion Pax, a humble archivist who valued peace more than power. Tonight, under these countless stars, I speak not as a warrior, but as one who has wandered long. I speak to anyone who listens. Perhaps you, resting quietly, seeking calm in your heart, waiting for sleep. Hear my voice. Let its cadence cover you like a blanket, guiding you toward rest. For I too seek peace in the quiet between storms. These stars hold stories, though they shine without words. They are witnesses eternal, watching civilizations rise and fall, watching worlds ignite and fade. From them, I have learned that peace is not forever, but it is always precious. And nights like this remind me to stop, to listen, to breathe, and to realize that the universe is vast, far greater than any battle I have fought. One star, brighter than the rest, catches my gaze. Is it merely light from 1,000 years away? Or is it a reflection of Cybertron itself, reaching out across the void, calling me home. I do not know, but I know its glow eases the weight I carry. It feels like the embrace of a world long gone, a promise that even through change, something eternal still shines. Tonight, I will take you with me into memory. Not memories of war nor destruction. Instead, I will share the moments that gave meaning to all else. The times when I stood at the edge of Iacon, watching Energon crystals scatter blue light across the twilight sky. The echoes of laughter, the warmth of companionship, the music that once sang through corridors of steel. These fragments live within me still. And now, I will share them with you. Breathe slowly. Let the night air soothe you. Let my voice guide you into quiet. For beneath these stars, a story is about to begin. Long before the storms of war swept across our world, Cybertron knew an age of stillness. I remember it as clearly as I see the stars above tonight. The great cities glistened with streams of living metal, polished by the passage of time, shining under the glow of Energon spires. In those days, peace was not a fragile treasure to be guarded. It was the air we breathed, the ground we walked, the very rhythm of our existence. The city of Iacon stood like a jewel at the planet's heart. Its towers were tall, their tips shimmering like starlight, casting reflections that seemed to merge sky and earth into one. I would walk along the wide corridors, lined with etched symbols of our history archivists. Builders and healers filled the streets, their voices woven into a harmony that resonated far beyond words. No sound of battle, no weight of suspicion, only a quiet trust binding us together. Cybertron's nights carried their own beauty. Streams of light coursed through conduits that pulsed gently across the horizon, glowing with colors more vivid than any star. When I gazed upward, I saw not darkness, but a vast canvas painted with silver and blue. And when the quiet settled, I could hear the low hum of the planet itself, as if Cybertron had a heartbeat. It was steady, reassuring, eternal. I was not yet a leader then. I was simply Orion Pax. My role was to preserve knowledge, to safeguard records of who we were and who we hoped to become. I spent hours within the Hall of Records, reading stories of ancient days, tales of courage, unity, and invention. Each archive spoke not only of achievement, but of balance. We believed peace would last forever. We believed our light could never dim. And yet, the moments I cherish most were not found in the archives, but in the ordinary days, standing at the edge of a plaza at twilight, watching the sky change hues as energon crystals caught the fading sun, sharing quiet words with friends as the city lights flickered awake, listening to the music of Cybertronian instruments, deep, resonant tones that seemed to echo with the very soul of the planet. It was in those simple times that I felt the true meaning of existence. Not conquest, not dominion, but connection. I can still picture the gardens of luminous metal, where rivers of liquid light wove through the ground. The air carried the faint shimmer of energon particles, drifting like dust motes in golden shafts of light. Even the smallest structures seemed alive, infused with energy that pulsed softly like breathing. We walked without fear. We dreamed without limit. And in that dreaming, we believed in eternity. Perhaps that is why the memory of peace lingers so deeply within me. It was more than the absence of conflict. It was the certainty of belonging. Cybertron was not only our world. It was a reflection of ourselves at our best. Creative, united, radiant. In those days, no one thought of power. No one spoke of dominance. We lived as if tomorrow would always be gentle, as if harmony was unbreakable. Now beneath Earth's stars, I summon these memories not to mourn, but to remember, for within them lies the heart of what I continue to fight for. Not victory, but the chance that one day peace might live again. And perhaps, as you rest and drift towards sleep, you too will feel it. That quiet, that balance, that dream of a world where the hum of life is steady, soft, Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Imagine the glow of a city bathed in silver light. Hear the low hum of a planet alive with song. Let it carry you gently as Cybertron once carried us all. When I close my optics and let memory guide me, I can still feel the rhythm of Cybertron's heart in its age of peace. It was not only the gleaming towers or the hum of Energon streams. It was the way life itself unfolded with grace. Every cycle flowed into the next like a melody, soft yet unending. And all who lived upon our world contributed their own note to that song. The plazas of Iacon would awaken with the first light, golden rays refracting through crystalline spires that rose higher than any earthly mountain. Traders, builders, scholars, all moved with quiet purpose. Their voices carried not the weight of rivalry, but the warmth of cooperation. The air was filled with the subtle resonance of energy lines beneath the streets, each pulse like the gentle beating of Cybertron's own spark. It was harmony made visible, harmony made real. There were moments when I would pause simply to listen. A craftsman shaping metal into delicate forms, each strike ringing like a bell. A group of younglings, their laughter echoing down the shining avenues as they chased one another beneath the glow of arc lamps. A musician seated upon a ledge, coaxing deep, resonant tones from an instrument of luminous strings, its song rising into the twilight. These were not grand events, yet they remain etched into me, for in their simplicity, they revealed the soul of Cybertron. But it was in the evenings that Cybertron's peace shone brightest. The horizon would glow with rivers of liquid light, flowing through channels carved into the land. Towers would shimmer in hues of blue and violet, reflecting across mirrored streets. Friends would gather, sharing words without hurry, their sparks calm and steady. Even the stars above seemed closer then, as if they too were listening to our world's quiet song. There were gardens unlike any you have known here on Earth. Luminous fields where metallic leaves unfolded in colors that shifted with the energy of the air. Streams of radiant liquid wove through the ground, casting ripples of light against the polished structures. The scent of ionized air was sharp yet comforting, a reminder that life itself pulsed within every particle around us. To walk there was to feel at one with the planet, to know that you belonged. Now as I gaze upon Earth's sky, I recall those moments not with sorrow, but with gratitude, for they remind me of what once was, and of what could be again. Peace is not a dream beyond reach. It is a memory alive within us, waiting to be lived once more. So let the image linger in your thoughts as you drift towards sleep. The shining towers, the rivers of light, the laughter of friends beneath a glowing sky. Let it soothe you as it soothes me across the distance of time. For Cybertron's harmony may be gone from sight, but never from the spark. For countless cycles, I believed Cybertron's harmony would last forever. The laughter of friends, the music of the plazas, the steady hum of our world's spark, it all felt unshakable. Yet even within the brightest light, shadows may begin to stir. At first, they were whispers, too faint to notice. Small tremors beneath the surface, overlooked because we trusted too deeply in the permanence of peace. I remember walking through the grand streets of Ayakan one evening, the horizon awash with silver light. Everything appeared as it always had, towers gleaming, energy conduits glowing, voices of companionship echoing softly. Yet something lingered in the air, a subtle unease, like a note slightly out of tune in a perfect song. I could not name it then, I only felt it, and dismissed it as the wanderings of my own thoughts. But now I know it was the first hint of change. Even within the Hall of Records, I sensed the shift scholars debated more fiercely, their words edged with urgency rather than curiosity. Texts once regarded as lessons were reinterpreted as weapons of thought. The archives, which had always been sanctuaries of wisdom, began to feel like battlegrounds of ideology. And though I sought to preserve knowledge, I felt the weight of division settling in like a shadow across the shelves. I recall an evening when the usual music of the plazas was replaced by silence. No instruments played, no laughter carried. Instead, clusters of Cybertronians gathered, speaking in low tones, their optics lit with restlessness. They longed for change, for recognition, for something beyond the quiet rhythm we had always cherished. In their sparks burned both hope and resentment, a dangerous pairing, though at the time I could not see where it would lead. And yet, even as these shadows stretched, I clung to the belief that peace would endure. I told myself that unity was too deeply rooted to ever fracture, that our harmony was stronger than doubt, stronger than fear. But the truth I came to learn is that even the strongest light must face the dusk. And when dusk falls, one must choose how to carry the flame. Tonight, under Earth's stars, I share this not to burden you, but to remind you, peace is precious because it is fragile, and sometimes to preserve it, one must face the shadows rising at its edge. So breathe slowly. Let the thought pass gently, like a cloud across the moon. Feel the calm return, even as we step closer to the moment when balance first began to waver. For every story of harmony carries within it the faint echo of change. And it was in those echoes that the future of Cybertron quietly began to shift. As I look back across the span of time, I find myself asking, what is peace? Is it merely the absence of war, or is it something deeper, something that lives within the spark of every being? For Cybertron, peace was once the air we breathed, woven into the rhythm of our world. Yet when it faltered, I realized that peace is not given. It must be nurtured, protected, and carried within us, even when the skies grow dark. When I was still awry in Pax, I thought peace was eternal. It seemed unbreakable, like the shining towers of Iacon, like the endless hum of energon coursing through our veins. I believed it was a state of being, something the world would always provide. But time has shown me that peace is more delicate than steel, more fragile than crystal. It is not permanent by nature. It is a choice. renewed with each passing moment. Peace lives in the small acts, the unseen gestures. It is found in the craftsman shaping metal with patience and care. It lingers in the laughter of younglings playing beneath the glow of Cybertron's night. It hums in the quiet conversation shared between friends as the stars looked on. These moments, ordinary yet profound, are what peace truly is. They are the threads that weave harmony into the fabric of existence. On Earth, I see this truth reflected as well. The stillness of a forest at dusk, the quiet flow of a river, the soft chorus of creatures hidden among the trees. These, too, are reminders of peace. Yet they exist only as long as they are cherished, as long as they are respected. If neglected, even the most tranquil stream may grow clouded, and even the strongest tree may fall. Peace asks that we tend to it, gently, constantly. For me, the meaning of peace is not in victory, but in belonging. It is not found in dominance, but in balance. It is the recognition that every spark, no matter how small, carries worth. It is the courage to stand not for conquest, but for the chance that tomorrow may dawn brighter than today. It is knowing that harmony does not erase differences, but embraces them, binding many into one. Perhaps that is why I fight, even now, not for glory, not for power, but for the hope that somewhere, someday, peace might live again, as it once did on Cybertron. The memory of luminous gardens, of rivers of light, of voices joined without fear, that is the vision I hold within me. And it is that vision that guides every step, every choice, every word I speak tonight. So as you listen, as you rest, let this truth settle within you. Peace is not distant. It is not unreachable. It may be fragile, but it is real. And it begins within the quiet of your own heart. Breathe gently. Let the rhythm of your breath remind you of Cybertron's hum. Steady and calm, guide you closer to rest, closer to stillness. For in stillness, peace is always waiting. Peace, once so certain, began to waver. Not all at once, but little by little, like cracks forming beneath the surface of glass. Too small at first to see, yet spreading quietly until they could no longer be ignored. I remember the moment when I first felt it, not with my optics, but with my spark. The rhythm of Cybertron itself seemed to shift, its steady hum carrying a faint dissonance that had not been there before. The plazas of Ayakon were still filled with light. The gardens still glowed with rivers of liquid radiance on the surface. Everything appeared as it always had, yet beneath the brilliance, murmurs stirred. Questions whispered in quiet corners grew louder, carried from one voice to another. They asked why some stood in towers while others toiled in shadows. They wondered why the archives told of unity when ambition pressed heavily upon their sparks. Doubt, once hidden, began to take root. I walked among the people then, listening. Some spoke of hope, of change that might bring balance. Others carried restlessness, their tones edged with resentment. And in the distance I heard speeches that stirred sparks with promises of strength, of order, of power. The harmony that had always been effortless now demanded effort. What once bound us together was beginning to fray. Within the Hall of Records, the shift was unmistakable. Where once scholars debated with curiosity, they now argued with urgency. Ancient texts were revisited not as lessons but as weapons, words twisted to justify new desires. I felt the weight of knowledge bending beneath the strain, as if truth itself was caught in a struggle between what had been and what was yet to come. I tried to hold on to balance to preserve wisdom, but the current of change was growing stronger. And still, I hoped I told myself that peace could endure, that the divisions were small, that the bonds of unity would not break. After all, the towers still gleamed, The river still flowed, the stars still shone upon Cybertron's night. Could such beauty truly fall into silence? I did not wish to believe it. I chose to see the light. Even as the shadows stretched longer with each cycle. Now, as I stand beneath Earth's sky, I remember that fragile balance. How easily it shifted. How quietly it faltered. It reminds me that peace is precious not because it is strong, but because it is delicate. And when it begins to fade, it must be tended like a flickering flame, or else it will dim into darkness. Breathe with me now. Slow, gentle, let the thoughts settle like dusk upon the horizon. There is no need for fear, only understanding, for even as Cybertron's harmony began to unravel, I learned that within the quiet, there is still a place to rest. And tonight, beneath these stars, I share that quiet with you. There is a moment, just before night fully descends, when the sky holds both light and shadow. That was the moment Cybertron entered, a twilight where harmony lingered, yet darkness quietly pressed closer. It was not destruction, not yet. The city still glowed. The rivers of light still coursed through the land. But beneath their brilliance, the spark of unity flickered, struggling to remain whole. I walked through Icon at dusk, the towers catching the last silver rays of light. Their reflections shimmered across the mirrored streets, beautiful as always. Yet as I moved among the people, I felt the weight of silence where laughter once lived. Conversations were shorter, their tones sharper. Where once optics shone with trust, now they carried questions, some of hope, some of doubt, and some of quiet suspicion. Peace was present still, but it no longer felt effortless. It felt fragile. In the Hall of Records, I listened to debates that no longer sought truth but victory. Scholars spoke with urgency, their words edged with division. Texts that once celebrated unity were recast as tools of argument. The wisdom of ages, meant to guide us, was being pulled apart to serve new desires. And I stood among those voices, wondering if the weight of knowledge could hold against the force of change. The plazas where musicians once played grew still. The instruments lay silent, their tones absent from the night air. younglings who once filled the avenues with laughter now played less freely, their guardians watching with cautious eyes. The luminous garden still glowed, yet the rivers of light seemed dimmer, as though they too sensed the shift. Even Cybertron's hum, the steady rhythm of its spark, carried a note of tension, soft but undeniable, like a breath caught between hope and fear. Still, I told myself that this was but a passing storm, that peace, though shaken, could yet endure. I wanted to believe that the bonds woven through countless cycles could not simply break. And perhaps, in a way, I was right. For even at the fragile edge of twilight, peace remained, delicate, trembling but alive. It lingered in small moments, a kind word between friends, a craftsman's steady hand, a quiet evening spent beneath the glow of the stars. These were reminders that harmony had not yet vanished, that it still breathed, even if faintly. Tonight, as I stand beneath Earth's sky, I share this fragile moment with you. Not to stir unrest, but to remind you that peace, even when trembling, is worth holding. That even as shadows gather, light can still guide the way. And as you drift into rest, let this twilight remain with you. Gentle, balanced, neither day nor night, but a place where stillness lingers. For in twilight, there is both farewell and the promise of stars yet to rise. At last, the balance that held our world began to falter beyond it. What once was harmony had become a fragile whisper too thin to withstand the rising tide of change. The laughter that once filled our plazas had grown faint. The songs of our musicians had fallen silent, and the hum of Cybertron itself, steady for countless cycles, now trembled with the weight of division. I remember standing upon a high ledge in Icon, looking down at the city bathed in silver light. The towers gleamed, their reflections flawless, yet I could feel the truth stirring beneath the brilliance. Trust was fraying, unity was bending. The peace we once believed eternal had reached its final dusk. It was not gone, not yet, but its presence was fragile, like the last echo of a song fading into stillness. In the Hall of Records, where I had once found comfort in the wisdom of ages, I felt the change most deeply. The archives still glowed with light, but the voices that studied them no longer spoke in harmony. They spoke with urgency, with division, with conviction that could not find common ground. I touched the walls etched with our history, wondering if those who came before us had also stood at such a threshold, watching as peace slipped quietly away. The luminous garden still shone, though their rivers of light seemed dimmer than I remembered. I walked their paths slowly, listening to the quiet. The air carried the same shimmer, the same gentle glow, yet something was missing. Not beauty, not wonder, but ease. The calm that once flowed naturally now required effort to feel, as if the world itself strained to hold on to what little balance remained. And yet, even as peace fell into silence, I carried its memory, for peace, once lived, is never lost. It becomes a flame within the spark, fragile but enduring, waiting to be kindled again. I knew then that my path would change, that I would no longer be only Orient Pax, the archivist, that I would become something more, not for power, not for conquest, but for the hope that one day harmony might return. Now, as I stand beneath the stars of Earth, I share this memory with you, not to weigh your spirit, but to bring you calm. For even in endings there is quiet. Even in loss there is stillness. And in that stillness, peace may be found again. So close your eyes. Let your breath flow slowly, evenly. Imagine the towers of Cybertron fading gently into twilight, their light soft and distant. Hear the last hum of the planet steady, carrying you into rest. Feel the stars above, eternal, watching with patience as you drift into sleep. For though the peace of Cybertron has fallen, its memory remains. And in memory, peace is never gone. It waits, quietly, like the stars, ready to shine once more.